Hey, my name's Sebastian, aka Good Neighbor. I'll do it again, Felt chip. My name's Sebastian. I'm a director and a storyteller based in Vancouver, BC. You want a long story? You want the full thing? Okay. Why am I a filmmaker? And my go-to answer is I'm just like, oh, it's like the longest thing that I've ever done. So I feel like, you know, there was times my first years of high school, I was so naughty growing up. I was quite a rebellious kid, and I would always skip school and just go filming with my friends, filming skateboarding. So through that time, I was actually able to like learn the language of the camera and learn the language of like video editing. So that sort of started the journey. We're gonna start here. We're gonna go around the skate park, do a 180, yeah, and then hit the ramp. Yeah! I love it. There wasn't a filmmaker or a skateboard filmmaker in the region that I lived in, so I was the first person who was sort of producing content from this part of Australia. Then when I was 10 years old, my mother actually passed away. My mother left me like a small inheritance to buy a first car or something. And when I was 16, I was so hooked on cameras, and I was skipping school and doing just skating a bunch with my friends, and we would film on those old school digital cameras. We'd film on one of those, and eventually when I was 16, I was like, wow, I have this inheritance here, like $5,000. I should like buy a VX. I should become a skateboard filmer because I'm doing it so much already. So I actually used what my mother left to buy my first camera. So that's why I feel like when I say like, yeah, why did you start? I'm just like, in some sense, I feel like it was like my mother's like last gift to me, you know? And in that sense, I'm kind of like, oh, I kind of have to do it. You know? Yeah, I'm totally one of those people who is like from everywhere. I don't actually know what my identity is. For me, identity is just like this sort of like never-ending circle. I'm learning now that like, yeah, there's actually this, to ground myself in this, like not having any identity. I think this sort of like, this quest to define my identity fuels my work because it's something that like, I haven't necessarily ever grasped. So when I see it in someone else, that's what excites me in a story. That's when I feel that there's a connection or there's something there that is palpable and exciting. When I find people and they have whatever their niche or passion is that they use, that they hang on to define their identity, that's what I want to explore, and that's what I want to amplify in other people. And seeing somebody else do that reminds me that I have to do that with my own life sometimes. I also think of my positionality as a black filmmaker in today's day and age, which I would say is the best time it has ever been to be a black filmmaker or a filmmaker of color in that sense. Being a person of color, I find we're able to empathize with this subject or the individual on the other side of the camera whose story this is, because it might be a change of circumstances, but any feelings of like otherness or a feeling of being like not included or last pick or however you want to call it, it's just like there's something in there that we share. And I guess the privilege in being a person of color in this day and age is that you have access to stories, you have access to these underrepresented perspectives. Who has underrepresented perspectives? BIPOC. I think that is something that's actually a superpower that we can tap into, is like being more aware of the stories around us. It doesn't have to be someone who looks exactly like us, but there can be this layer of like disarming by being like, hey, I understand your perspective.